I'll tell you in the break. All right, new budget deal asking our brave men and women to pay more into their pensions. Joining us right now is Army Chief of Staff General Ray Odierno. General, always great to see you. You had a big award last night. We'll talk about it in a second, but I know you care most about sequester because the military has absorbed body blow after body blow in budget cuts. First off, if the budget's accepted as the agreement came forward, as we understand it last night, instead of having a Pentagon cut of $52 billion, now it's just and a budget of $527 billion. Now you get to hold at $520 billion. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's helpful because one of the problems we're having is the upfront cuts were so high that it caused us to get out of balance with readiness, modernization, and end strength. So this will help a little bit in that way, helping us to invest a little bit more in our readiness.
All right, so let's talk about what you've absorbed over the last few years. Secretary of Defense Gates said, I'm going to do a preemptive cut, so you don't have to. How much did he cut then? Well,
so Secretary Gates did about somewhere between 250 and 300 billion, and then we had a $400 billion cut, almost a $500 billion cut with the budget control Act, and then on top of that is another $500 billion from sequestration.
And how has the military been affected?
Well, because of how fast we've had to do it, it really has affected our readiness. So we have, what I'm concerned about is we're able to meet our missions in Afghanistan, but if we had some unknown contingency, I'm concerned we wouldn't have our soldiers trained to do what they need to do. So that's been the problem. That's been what's most concerning to me. This deal will help a little bit in the near term, but it still doesn't address the broader problem with sequestration. It addresses 2 years. That's a start, and we appreciate that very much, the work that's being done. But we now have to be concerned about sequestration is a 9-year problem now, so it's another 7 years that we still have to be concerned with.
And you guys are commissioned by nature to take orders, but it's about time you spoke up and understand the American people can't ask for everything.
Yeah.
You can't ask to be in Somalia and in Afghanistan and special operations through Africa at the same time skewering your budget. Meanwhile, pensions too are being. Are you going to have to pay more into your pensions?
Well, no, that's not. I mean, I'm still trying to. I haven't had a chance to really review what they agreed to yesterday, but what my understanding is that it's somewhat impacted COLA increases. So it's not cutting pensions or making you pay into more. It's just affecting the increases of the pensions.
You had everything to do with the capture of Saddam Hussein. We're coming up on that anniversary again. Makes us think about that day and also about where Iraq is today. Are you disturbed where we're at with the country you worked so hard to liberate?
Well, I think, we left it, when we left there, it was in a really good place. Security was very good. Violence was very low.
It's a great place.
So it is concerning as we watch the violence grow inside of Iraq. It is kind of representative of what's going on now in the Middle East, this Sunni-Shia divide that's kind of happening in Syria, it's happening in Lebanon, it's happening in Iraq. So there's deep concern.
If you had a residual force, do you believe things would be better in Iraq?
I think it's hard to say. I think it probably would have been if we were allowed to have a residual force.
Does it hurt you because you spent so much of your life there and know so many people who lost their lives there? Your own son lost an arm there. Does it disturb you to see where it is right now?
Well, I just think I haven't given up hope yet. And maybe that's a reaching a little bit. But it is concerning to see the violence at the levels it's been and how it's grown throughout the year. And it's really because of political disagreement and mistrust between the parties in Iraq, the fact that they simply don't trust themselves and they can't get to agreement. And so it's allowing others to exploit this, and it's increasing the violence. And it really is difficult to watch.
General, I think it's in my ego, and it's a big one. I think you came here to visit me, but it isn't. You came here to get an award, and you got it last night. The NFL reached out to you, the National Football Foundation. You're a big football player, a huge Giant fan, an NFL supporter. What award did you get last night?
Well, I got the Distinguished American Award, which is for leadership, lifetime of leadership and service and contributions you make to college football. So for me, it was really an incredible honor. I tell everyone that if it wasn't for football, I wouldn't have went to West Point. It gave me an opportunity I would not have had.
Yeah, you recruited to play there.
And so because of football, I had the opportunity to get an education, to get a leadership experience that's allowed me to contribute back. And I think we forget about that about sports. A lot of young men, they honored scholar athletes last night. They're incredible young men. And sports is more than just football. It's about giving young men and women in other sports the opportunity to get a great education and then contribute to our society, because the fundamentals of being an athlete, especially a football player, mental and physical toughness, resiliency, and the importance of training people to be part of a team and try to achieve something greater than themselves is an incredible lesson. And that's what you get with sports. I think sometimes we forget about that. We are rightfully concerned about the safety in football, but we must also remember the great things that come out of football, the great people, the training, and the leaders that have been growing out of football for many, many, many years.
MacArthur wrote about it. Patton described it in his book, too, and how much it meant to him. And they weren't great, Patton especially, but they learned so much.
You know, MacArthur actually started the foundation, National Football Foundation. MacArthur and Red Blake are the ones who helped establish this foundation back in the late 40s. And so, he played a significant role in this, and he believed in it.
And if you do retire, I wouldn't be surprised if you put the eye black on and dress for the Giants next year. They could use an outside pressure on certain pass situations.
I'd probably be good for about one play, Brian.
No, you wouldn't. More than that. General, always great to see you. Congratulations on your career. Thanks for your service to the country.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your award last night.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, coming up straight ahead.